At the end of every video, I drop a voicemail line and my email address, encouraging people to communicate with me. This gentleman who calls me a lot. In fact, some of the calls are like, "Oh, you said one time that I call you dozens of times. I haven't done that." And I counted, and it was George Burton. He gives his name. I'm not outing him. I wouldn't put his phone number up. I don't do that. But one of the things I talk about often is the threat of white Christian nationalism, the threat of militia-type separatist groups, the Oath Keepers, the seditious conspiracy convicted leader of the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, the Three Percenters, the Boogaloo movement, all of this disparate satellite network of radicals who are gaining power now that Donald Trump has come on the scene. When I grew up in northern Idaho, having affection or sympathy for these groups at the very least, we understood who they were, but it was not common to hear it talked about in open company. It was always behind closed doors, or you whispered about it, or you spoke in coded language about your affinity for separatist militia groups. And now that Donald Trump is on the scene, it's commonplace. In fact, you're going to hear in one of these two calls, one is just attacking me that I wasn't a Marine because I don't hold the same views on immigration that he does. And then the other, he's talking about the militia movements. But it really does go to show that my talking about elected leaders talking about this stuff, the reason I do it is because of this, that it infects the minds of weak-minded individuals who get blown by whatever wind of conspiracy that blows their way. And since the Republican Party is unmoored from the truth, they are untethered from reality, it inflicts upon their adherents of the cult a dangerous mindset. So first, let's go to this first questioning whether or not I'm actually a United States Marine.
Hey, dipshit. Just seen your little podcast where you talk about you being a Marine.
Let me stop
you call
this.
Yourself.
First of all, George Burton, this is not a podcast. I know you're old. I know that you're not keen on learning new things. You probably haven't cracked a book in who knows how long. That new information doesn't settle its way into your cranium. You've got probably some damage to your prefrontal cortex. Who knows what's going on with you, brother? I don't know. I wouldn't venture a guess. I'll just postulate a little bit. But this isn't a podcast. This is a YouTube video. A podcast is typically audio that's delivered over what's called an RSS feed. Really simple syndication, I believe, is what it originally stood for. It isn't this. This is a YouTube video on YouTube that is probably other places, but it's not a podcast. Now that we've cleared that up, continue, sir.
You call yourself a patriot.
Yeah.
And yet your fucking candy ass is okay with letting millions and millions of terrorists invade our country. Well, you notice I didn't say our country because you're just a dipshit traitor to my country. You know, I can see millions of true patriots doing flip-flops in their graves at the thought of your treasonous ass even claiming to be a Marine.
Not claiming.
All fucking dumb democrats.
Democrats
are traitors, and they all need to be shipped out of fucking America because their number one agenda is ruining this fucking country. And guess what? Dipshit. You're right there helping them do it, fuckwad.
One, it is not your country. It is indeed our country. And that is through representative democracy, through a democratic republic, the manner with which we elect our elected representatives, that we can change the country, our country. At the current moment, your particular movement can't elect a president with the popular vote, and because of our janky anti-democratic electoral college, you continue to have presidents. I mean, since 1988, I believe, only one Republican has won the popular vote, and that was George W. Bush in 2004. Only one. Your ideas don't resonate. And I don't care if millions and millions of Trump patriots are rolling over in their graves because my traitorous ass is claiming to be a Marine. In the Marine Corps, you wouldn't know because you're not one. You've never mentioned military service, so I can only assume you talk big, you talk a huge game, but we're too much of a coward to actually serve your country. It's earning the title of United States Marine. It can't be taken away. I wasn't an officer. I was an enlisted man. Went through boot camp, went through Marine combat training, served for years in the United States Marine Corps. And it has really nothing to do with my outlook on politics or immigration, for that matter. And what is happening, that listen to the hyperbole, the lies, that millions, we're allowing millions of terrorists to come into the, millions, not tens of terrorists to wreak havoc on the country, not hundreds, not thousands of terrorists, not even tens of thousands, not even hundreds of thousands, George Burton is saying. Millions of terrorists are being let in. And I'm the dipshit. And I'm the fuckwad. You outdid yourself with this one, George. I gotta say, it's fantastic. Here he is defending militias, and it really gets into some dark territory for the fact that this is why I talk about these types so often, is because from Donald Trump's mouth to George Burton's ears, it becomes fact in a pea brain.
Hey, Jesse, this is your favorite hater, George Burton. I'm just calling to thank you for your dipshit moronic rant.
You're welcome.
About the militias and Trump. What you got to understand is Trump ain't got a damn thing to do with it. What's going to happen is going to happen with or without approval from Trump. And the groups that are forming, the militia, the 3%ers, they're not anti-government. They're patriots.
Moron.
Patriots that are going to stand up and take this country back, and they're not going to need anybody's approval to do it. You have a blessed day, Jesse.
I wish I could wish you the same, George Burton, but I do not wish you a blessed day. What's going to happen, he says, it's going to happen with or without Trump's approval from Trump. And in the groups that are forming the militia, the 3%ers, they're not anti-government. They are self-styled, self-identified as anti-government, you fucking dipshit. What are you... You should not speak until you have some acuity on the matter, some understanding of the matter. You can't just read Fox News and some rosy, glowing review of a militia movement, a separatist movement, and then repeat that. Because it just makes you look like an asshole, George Burton. But what's going to happen? It's going to happen without Trump's approval. What's going to happen? What inside knowledge do you have, sir? They're patriots. They're patriots to stand up and take our country back, and they're not going to need anybody's approval to do it. I can tell you that it's not going to happen. Now, there is a threat, certainly, of some violence, some terrorism, because that's what these people are. You call immigrants, people seeking asylum in our country, desperate people from poor countries, just looking for a better life. Don't you want to extend the American dream? Don't you talk about the meritocracy that is America? If they come here and they fail, then they fail. If they come here and they do something magical and wonderful, it's because of the American dream, is it not? George Burton, terrorist sympathizer. This is what happens when you give your phone number and your email out. You have dipshits who like to co-opt your own little pet names for people and use them as though they're their own. That's what I'm most angry about, George Burton. Call me a dipshit. I call you a dipshit. Anyway, I mean, I'm laughing, but this is dangerous because it's not just little George Burton, little pea-brain George Burton here. These views are held by hundreds of thousands, maybe actually millions of people who adhere to ideologies that are espoused by Donald Trump. We witnessed the insurrection, which was filled to the gills with these types, erecting a hangman's gallows to ostensibly hang Mike Pence as they chanted. They're not anti-government. They just want to assassinate the vice president of the United States, says George Burton. And I speak with authority on this matter because I was raised around these people. Some people with certain political ideologies would believe that I was raised by these people. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from sympathy for these groups to membership in these groups. What do you think out there? I would love to know. We can have a conversation in the comments. You can also call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. I said it slow for the George Burton types out there. You can also email me daily at dollemore.com. I would love to hear from you. If you appreciate what I do here, if you think my work is important, and if I bring you value, if all those things come together like two keys on a submarine launching a torpedo or whatever, click the join button below. See what's involved to become a channel member for $2 a month. You can help me make these videos. You can also go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. All those are great ways to help support this work. I know I'm on vacation now. This is a video I did a week or so in advance, but when I come back, be doing more of these. I love and appreciate you. Follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore everywhere, and I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine. Take care of one another.